Welcome back to the DFS Sweatshop, where I am your host, the DFS Jerusalem, and you can follow me, of course, on Twitter at DFS Jerusalem. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about what happened during yesterday's slate, the debacle that we did have in Washington National Stadium. That kind of fucked my night up, man. Seth Rudnick, what's up? Armando Gonzalez, what's happening, big homie? Seth Rudnick, the big homie. Yo, I hope it's working out well for you, man. I saw your tweet, man. Hope it's going well. ACP, what's up, big homie? So, yo, the Nets, the Washington shit really fucked my night up because at a certain point, I was like, you know what? I'm riding with it. I put all this time into these lineups. The game, maybe it will play, maybe it won't. Fuck it. I'm gonna let the dice roll. And I had everything set up. Had some pretty good stacks of teams that I liked. The Atlanta was one of my favorite stacks. I had them cats in there, 1 through 5. I was feeling good about my lineups, and then we get the news that the game could possibly be postponed. Then it was delayed. I started to switch some stuff around, move guys that I shouldn't have moved to make space, and I had more salary when I moved this guy, and it was bad. And I'm lucky to be able to recoup some of my buy-in back. I'm getting about. Yo, Tomlin. I talked about Tomlin. That was one of my better lineups. Was the one I had Tomlin in, man. I sent out this tweet every day, and I asked, the Twitter world, who is going to be the gang stack of tonight's MLB main slate. And the 4 options I had up tonight, I liked Oakland, so I threw out Seattle. I liked Atlanta, so I threw out Washington. I liked Cleveland, and I liked the Houston Astros. And of course, overwhelming favorite was the Houston Astros. Like, everybody was on them, man. Everybody was. And I kind of challenged the group to look toward the back of the Houston order. Don't just go straight to the top, because we've been seeing lately that a lot of times, man, just because you're on a stack, just because you like a stack, and you're probably right, and they're in a good spot, it doesn't mean that you have to just stack the top of the order. A lot of times, the back of the order is really what gets it in. So, yeah. Well, see, and this is the thing with Tomlin, man. We saw what happened the game before, okay, and they hit Bauer pretty good, and I knew that the San Diego Padres were gonna play like the Padres at some point during this series, and I felt like it was gonna be Tomlin since it wasn't Bauer. He didn't have a great game against them, but I knew. Well, I didn't know, but I had a good feeling that we could depend on Tomlin in this spot, and that went out to be probably one of the better pitching plays on the slate in terms of point per dollar, what you paid for him versus what you actually got for him. So I did have a couple of lineups with Tomlin in them, and those were good. Helped me get some of my buy-in back. I crushed in the early, man. I wrote out like 3 or 4 lineups in the early, and went 6 times my buy-in there. Gave some of it back in the night slate. So still positive for today. That's all good. We're gonna be rolling into 15 games we do have for later on today. So. The Houston Astros, man, what a letdown, bro. What a letdown. Then you had the Nationals, which came in second, and I really think that this game starting so late took a toll on the bats in the spot. I really think they did. Also, Gio Gonzalez, too. And then the next one was the Cleveland Indians. This was probably the stack to have of the night. They were also a part of the hedge stacks that I roll out. And then the Seattle Mariners, which are still in play right now, not having a great game. Actually, the Angels, the Athletics are kicking their ass. So, and the way I set it up, man, usually I roll 10 lineups out, okay? And I've got 10 stacks I'm rolling. 4 are going to be my single entry stacks that I really like, and I'm going to also make a lineup or add an entry in the 20 entry max, whatever the 4-seamer is. So those 4 lines, my top 4 stacks, are going to be not only my 12, my 5, my 3, my $1 buy-in, but they're also going to be 4 entries in that 20 entry max, the 4-seamer tournament. Then I fill out 4 more hedge stacks, 5, 6, 7, 8. Those are stacks that I kind of like, but I just didn't really love the batting order. Maybe the batting order didn't come out on time, or something that just kind of didn't have those guys to the top of my list, but I still really like them. I have those 4 stacks, and then the other 2 are going to be game stacks. The other 2 lines are going to be game stacks. So that's 10 lines. The first 4 are my favorite stacks that I'm going to have also involved in my single entries. The other 4 are hedge stacks that kind of go against in some spots what I initially feel, and the other 2 are going to be game stacks. That's just games where I feel like if I can play, 6, 7, or 5 or 6 bats, or 5 to 7 bats in one game, not specifically stacking on either side, then I can get to the cash line. And then I only roll out 4 pitchers. I'm not playing any more than 4 pitchers on the slate. So let's go ahead and just check out where I'm at so far. Okay, now I'm winning $22 back. Okay, you put in a bet on Bellinger home run and didn't know he wasn't starting. He's at the plate. Oh my God, that's crazy. That's crazy. Hit a jack, Cody Bellinger. So my very best lineup was this one: Barrios, Faria, Maxwell, Encarnacion, Kipnis, Ramirez, Lindor, Brantley, Springer, and Michael Taylor was the cat that got hurt early in the game. Was not able to finish the game. Also, I had another Sale Barrios line that cashed, and this is my Sale Tomlin line that cashed, where I had Brian McCann, Yonder Alonso, Jed Lowry, Healy. This game is actually still in play. Chris Davis, Matt Joyce. This game is still in play. So had a decent day so far. I had a decent day, but it could have been a much better night had I had not had to deal with the shenanigans that we saw. Because it was funny in Washington, because it was clear, all systems says let's go out and play, and then the next thing you know is they're saying, well, the game is going to be delayed. So okay, cool, the game is delayed. Well, they could have been playing while the game was delayed. That sucked. It was bad. It was very bad. So we do have 15 games in an all-day slate. I do believe we've got 12 or 13 that's going to be a part of the main slate. We're working, of course, from RotoQL, and this is the spot where we talk about pitching. Because people are going to be making shows the night before, and they're going to be talking about bats, and I like to play this guy, and this BBP, and da-da-da-da-da. And you don't know what the fuck the batting orders are. You don't know who's going to be playing. You don't even know how many of you knew that Cody Bellinger was not going to start last night's game. You don't know. So why are you talking about it the night before? Is my assumption, right? So, and that's why it's so important, so valuable for you to get in with us in the line drive at 5, because once the batting orders come out between 4:30 and about 6 o'clock, we are in there, we are researching, we are talking, we are building, chopping it up together. We go into the line drive, we have those solidified, bona fide rosters, and we build lines there. We build lines there, then we enter them and we rock out. So let's go ahead, man. We're going to be discussing pitching and a few things that do, really help us out in choosing what the actual rotations are going to be, or what our pitchers are going to be. Is we look at park factors, where pitchers are pitching. We look at the K rates, what the other team does in terms of K rates. And if you were on that, if you looked at the park in Oakland, excuse me, in Seattle, looked at the park in Seattle, you put that together with the K rate from the San Diego Padres, that would have told you that Tomlin was in play. It would have told you clearly that Tomlin was in play. So we look at those things and we determine who are we going to have in our initial pitching pool. Then, of course, we like to shrink it down once we get inside the line drive at 5. So if you want to be a part of that, man, go hit up the website, www.dfssweatshop.com. Upon your paid subscription, you will be allowed into the very best Facebook group online and become a part of a dynasty, bro. Because we're killing it right now. We really are. Taking a look, man, we had some recent success in the shop, man. The homie Nationwide, Suiton Allen, him, Mike Bryson, Danny Williams, those guys pretty much have WNBA, locked up in the shop, man. The homie finished in 5th place, had a really nice payday there. Shout out to the homie Anthis Bolden, got right. He won him 10th place in a 3,900 man tournament. Pretty solid there. So we've been having a lot of success lately, and it's all good, man. Yo, those cats really do get it in for I just shouted you out, homie. Mr. Bolden, just shouted you out. Yeah, Tomlin and Ray were the plays for the day. And I can be honest with you, I was not on Ray. I was not on Hill. I thought that was a spot where both teams could score enough to where you wouldn't see the pitching really determine or dictate who would be winning the slate. But I was definitely wrong about that. Definitely I was wrong about that. So, yeah, man. Let's go ahead, and we're going to be working from RotoQL, of course, man. This is my favorite site to use I always tell you my favorite site to use is RotoQL in terms of not just optimization features and some of the tools they have, some of the insights that they give, but just the overall layout and how smooth and easy it is to build lineups, get them uploaded quickly to DraftKings and or FanDuel. So it's pretty tough. They even have the Yahoo on there as well. So if you do want to be involved with something like this, man, I think it's like 29 bucks a month. Go check it out. I'm going to drop a link in the description of the video to it. It's really good stuff. Really good stuff. So let's go ahead and see how the slates shake out for us. We've got, excuse me, we've got a early 2-game joint at 220. Okay, don't know if you want to be involved in that. You can if you like. We're gonna go over the games just to be sure. And we've got 13 games starting at 7:05. All right. Now we're looking over here. We're gonna be working from an all-day standpoint. That way I can roll through all the games. We are gonna be talking a little bit of park factors as we discussed earlier. And the first game we've got on the slate is going to be the Pittsburgh Pirates and Chicago Cubs. Now this game has a red tag, probable to delay or rain out. 17% chance of rain in this spot. There's going to be 11 miles per hour wind coming back toward the infield. It's Wrigley, man, so the wind does blow in Chicago. It's the windy city. 68 dew point. We've also got 72% humidity. Trevor Williams at 7.1 and Eddie Butler at 6.7. We're going to check over on DraftKings just to make sure these are the correct pitching prospects we have. Yes, they are. All right, so Trevor Williams in his last start, 25 and 40 before that against Tampa Bay. That was against San Francisco. Tampa Bay did strike out a lot in that game. Also had 34 against the Milwaukee Brewers. So this is a guy that you might want to take a look at. I mean, this could be a very solid play for you. If you're going to be playing in that early, definitely a guy that you can look to. Eddie Butler, on the other hand, not so much for him. The Pittsburgh Pirates are not a team to actually be afraid of, but Eddie Butler, man, just has not been prolific in his few starts. So 5, 24, 21, 5, 15, 32, not awesome in his few starts. And this is only a part of the early or the all-day slate. If we take a look here at K rates, look at where the Pittsburgh Pirates are. They're a team that's fairly disciplined at the plate, 22nd in the league in terms of K rate, 19.5%. The ISO was low, well above league average at 147. The WOBA is even lower at 271. So this may be a team that I feel like, or this may be a team that you feel like you can attack with Eddie Butler. If you feel that way, I have no issue there. Looking at the Cubs, on the other hand, the Cubs have got to change at some point. Seager on, bases loaded, no outs. Let's go Dodgers. So against Trevor Williams, you look at some of the lefty-righty matchups here. Those are going to be places that you probably would want to exploit. This is an early. I'm fading it early. I have no reason to play the early slate. I'm just not. I just don't think it's a good slate to play. Next game we got is the San Diego Padres and the Philadelphia Phillies. We got Clayton Richard at 7.1 against Nick Pivetta at 7.3. Do not be fooled, man. You can play Nick Pivetta in the spot. Take a look, number one, at the park factors here. We're going to be in Philadelphia. And this is, I think it's a pitching spot, man. Where we at? Philadelphia. Oh, actually, no. Citizens Bank. Citizens Banks. It is a hitter's park. For every 100 runs scored around the league, you're going to get 101 here. For every 100 home runs hit around the league, you're going to get 117 here. And that still doesn't take me off of Nick Pivetta. It actually puts me on some of the righty power for the Philadelphia Phillies. I think you can play any collection of those Phillies and Nick Pivetta against the San Diego Padres here. I would not be afraid of them. Also, this game is also a part of that early slate. So you're only going to be able to get these two games if you're playing the early. One of them is a risk to or probable to delay or rain out. So I would just completely fade the early slate. And now, let's get it cracking. The 7:05 is going to be nice because the first game on the slate is going to be two of the biggest power hitting teams in the league. Right? We got the Milwaukee Brewers and my New York Yankees. The one good thing we're going to get in this spot is we're going to get Jordan Montgomery at 7.9 in an 11-run total against Junior Guerrera and the Milwaukee Brewers bats. And we know what the Milwaukee Brewers can do, whether it's left-handed or right-handed pitching. They went out and they took the other Montgomery kid to the woodshed. They destroyed him. And that's how I was able to 5x my buy-in in the early slate yesterday. So Jordan Montgomery has been fairly solid in his starts this year, man. 19. This is the FanDuel pricing. Let me change it over so we can come from more of a DraftKings perspective. Here we go. Joe Montgomery, yep, 6.5, excuse me. 6.5 here. 10.4 against Houston. That's to be expected. The hottest team in the league. Chicago White Sox 30, 18, 9, 28, 23, 12, 23. So he's never like been bad this entire season. Never been like completely bad. And I really think that he's a guy that you may be able to look to because the ownership on the Milwaukee Brewers are going to be so high tomorrow. And for good reason. They've been playing pretty well. Let's take a look at their numbers to see exactly where they sit. In terms of K rate, they have been a lot more disciplined at the plate recently. They were once trading places with the Padres for first and second in terms of K rate, but they're now down to seventh. This team strikes out 24.8%. 229 ISO is high. The 347 WOBA is definitely something to be feared. So I think you can get not only Jordan Montgomery at low ownership, but that's going to be I really advise you to take caution with a play like that and an 11-run total, especially in a hitter's park like Yankee Stadium. We're going to take a look at the park factors and see exactly where they've got them ranked. This is the 4th ranked park in the league in terms of hitting for batters. For every 100 runs produced around the league, you're going to get 106 in Yankee Stadium. For every 100 home runs hit around the league, you're going to get 128 here in Yankee Stadium. So I would most assuredly like some of the Yankees bats. I think Jordan Montgomery is a guy that we can take a look at 6.5. And also, Junior Guerrero, not at all. Anybody that I want to have a look at all. Next game we got is going to be the Atlanta Braves and the Washington Nationals. It says here 0% chance of rain. 6 mile per hour wind, 87 degrees is the temperature with a 68 dew point, 53% humidity here. Last time I think we played R.A. Dickey against the Nationals. This turned out to be a decent spot, I think. No, 1.85, yeah, the knuckleballer. Who we don't play is we don't play Bryce Harper against the knuckleballer. Everybody else can hit that shit, but we just don't play Bryce Harper against a knuckleballer. Michael A. Taylor will probably not play in this game. That means there's going to have to be some shuffling in terms of the lineup. Maybe that moves a guy like Stephen Drew up in the rotation some. That could possibly be there. Dickey is not a guy that I think I can use at 5.8, but I think Scherzer is most assuredly in play for us at 13.2. Maybe, you know, what happened last night with Chris Sale not doing so well. Yeah, Murphy and Zimmerman are going to be the plays in there. Yeah, that's Andrew Pierce. Maybe, you know, with Chris Sale not doing as well as we all thought he could in terms of scoring, because he had a ton of strikeouts. He just was giving up runs, man. And maybe that would kind of, you know, incline people to not want to pay up for Scherzer. You know, you get that little recency bias, and they say, man, I ain't paying up for pitching. But Scherzer is definitely a pitcher that you can pay up for. Let's take a look over his last few starts, man. I believe they've all been close to 40 points. 41, 25 against Chicago, 39 against Miami, 35 against the Mets, 30 against Texas, 44 against the Dodgers, 43 against San Fran, 43 against the San Diego Padres. So you got the Atlanta Braves, who do hit better on the road, but bats have not fully been woken up yet. You definitely can take a shot here at Scherzer at 13.2. I'm sure you're going to be able to find some value plays that allow you to pay up for Scherzer. So this is not a slate where I'm going to say, hey, I'm not paying up for pitching. I'm not going to just say that. We've got an 8-run total. It's only 6 mile per hour wind going out toward left field. We are in Nationals Park, which is a fairly neutral park. It's not a place where the ball is going to get up out of there if it's hit harder than it would have to be in other spots. So, and I have no interest in any Atlanta bats in this spot. I'm not going to play guys against Scherzer on a 15-game slate. There's no point of guessing whoever hits the lone single home run off of Scherzer. There's no point to that. So he's definitely going to be in our pitching pool for today. Next game we got is another one with the Houston Astros and the Toronto Blue Jays. We got Aaron Sanchez at 6.1, Charlie Morton at 7.1. We're going to take a look over on DK just to make sure that these are the actual yes. Yes, they are. Now, and this is another spot, man. 10-run total. You know, I'm going to be taking a look at just playing bats in this spot. I have no interest in Aaron Sanchez. Really don't think Charlie Morton is the place that I want to get to. 7.1 against the Blue Jays, a team that doesn't strike out a lot. While he has been fairly solid in his last 5 starts, 19-7, 19, 27, 31. That's just not a place that I think I have to get to in terms of Charlie Morton against the Toronto Blue Jays, who have been waking up recently. They have been waking up recently. So you look at Aaron Sanchez at 6.1 against the Stros, man. Just don't do it. Just don't play a pitcher against the Stros, bro. It's gonna hurt you. It's gonna kill you. Let's take a look at what they've been doing. Looking over the last, this is a game that a team that strikes out the least amount in the league, 14.6% K rate. 254 is the ISO with the 405 WOBA. That is tough. That is tough to get around. You look at the Blue Jays here. They're 17th in the league in K rate, 21.5%. 132 ISO is down with a 298 WOBA. Still not attackable. And see, you can't just let the numbers say, oh, I'm going to play a pitcher against this team. Because Charlie Morton is not a guy that I feel like can exploit some of the deficiencies that we've seen in the Toronto Blue Jays rosters. So not either pitcher, not places that I want to get to. The next game we got is going to be Detroit Tigers and the Cleveland Indians. We got Jordan Zimmerman and Carlos Carrasco. I don't like Carrasco. I just don't like him. 28, 0.1, 33, 26, 14.6. And Carrasco is a guy that can go out there and deal 13 Ks. He can. He has that capability. Remember, take a look at this one is yellow too, because we got 12 mile per hour wind at Progressive Field. 53% chance of moderate rain is going to be here. 68 dew point, 75 degrees here. Of course, you got Carrasco at 11K, Jordan Zimmerman at 5.4. This to me is a game stack. Looking at this one, because I would like to stack the Detroit Tigers against Carrasco in the spot. I think if you don't want to pay for Scherzer, you're going to look to Carrasco, and I want to exploit that and attack that. I do think Detroit is a stackable offense at this point. Also, you look at the Cleveland side and what they've been able to do lately, especially yesterday against Jordan Zimmerman. Jordan Zimmerman sucks, bro. Jordan Zimmerman is a bum. 5.4K is still too much for him. 10, 3, 17, 22, 10, 20, -2, 10. He's bad. He's a bad pitcher. And I think at home, the Cleveland Indians can definitely exploit that matchup. So the next game we got, let's check out the park factors. As a matter of fact, in Progressive Field, I want you to know exactly what you're getting yourself into if you decide to play anyone for this game. This is a neutral park. You're going to get 99 runs for every 100 runs scored around the league. You're going to get 101 home runs for every 100 home runs hit around the league. So it's this is the epitome of a neutral park. The epitome of a neutral park. Next game we got is the Boston Red Sox and the Tampa Bay Rays. We have another lefty matchup for the Rays. So you know they're going to stack those right-handed bats at the top of the order. Drew Pomeranz is not Chris Sale. I think they can get to him again. I like what I've been seeing from the Rays. Taking a look at them over the last 14 days. This is a team that has been fairly disciplined at the plate in terms of K rates. 21.4%, 164 ISO, right around league average, and 329 WOBA. We're probably going to see cats like Corey Dickerson back in there starting. Maddox Smith probably is going to be there. You're going to have probably Steven Souza Jr. leading off. So I definitely think I can take advantage of some of these cats here. And the Boston Red Sox, man, have just not been hitting the ball with consistency all season. They've had really great games and really bad games. Yesterday was a really bad game for them. But this is still a team that just does not strike out a lot, man. 17.9% K rate, 174 ISO, 356 WOBA against Jake Odorizzi, who has been fairly solid in some spots this season. 11, 8, 12, 6, 23, -0.95. I definitely think that this is an area. This is an area where I can go back to Boston here. I can go back to Boston because based off what happened yesterday, people are not going to want to play him. People are not going to want to play these cats, and I think I can go back to Boston and play some bats there and really get it done. I like that. My only issue is this is one of the best parks for pitching. We're going to check out the park factors in Tampa Bay. We're going to Tropicana Field on this one. This is the 23rd ranked park in the league. A -89 is going to be the park factor here, and that is like, you know, for every 100 runs, you get 89 runs. For every 100 home runs hit around the league, you get 89. So Christopher Marie says Pomeranz can shut them down. And I agree with that. You know, because, you know, we have seen the Rays completely struggle against left-handed pitching. And yesterday's game was about a lot of home runs. It was about a lot of plate mistakes over the plate that Chris Sale, who normally doesn't make those mistakes, made over the plate. And when you have that, and you have guys like the Tampa Bay Rays who can swing for the fences, that can definitely lead you into ruin, which we did see that for Chris Sale. And it's funny because Chris Sale had like I think 10 or more Ks, and 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 still, like, his score was still respectable. Like, he didn't get the win, didn't pitch as deep in the game as we wanted him to, but he still had 10 strikeouts, man, 12 strikeouts, and got it in. So uh, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. So I think I am going to be interested in some of those Boston bats. Drew Pomeranz is a guy that we're going to put on the table, maybe take him off later or leave him. You know what I mean? Next game we got is the Los Angeles Angels and the Texas Rangers. Finally, we got the Rangers back on the slate against Ricky Nolasco. And Nolasco's had some pretty decent starts recently, man. He has, man. And it's been quite surprising because once Bronson Arroyo was forced into like early retire or forced into retirement, I guess, I had to find somebody else to pick on, like the worst, the worst pitcher in the league, somebody who I knew was going to give up a ton of jacks. And Ricky Nolasco is now the active league leader in home runs given up on the season. You take a look. He had 40 last time against Seattle, 24 against the Dodgers. Has he turned the corner? Has he found something? I mean, what has happened with Ricky Nolasco to put him in a position to score all of these points? I don't know. I'm not sure. And guess what? I ain't playing them against the Texas Rangers. You can give me all the Texas Rangers in this spot. I love them. They're going to be one of my favorite stacks initially before we get all the news and notes of the day and put it together to jump into the line drive at 5. Cole Hamels at 7.8 against the Angels is a play that I would be interested in, but just those lefty-righty matchups, man, are going to leave a little cause for concern. 25 last time against the White Sox, -9 against Cleveland. His best start was the last one he had against the White Sox, so not sure I want to touch Cole Hamels in this 10.5 run total. You look at Texas Rangers and Arlington Park and what it says. This is going to be a very fair park for hitters. Plus 114 is the park factor. 114 runs are scored here for every 100 around the league. And for every 100 home runs hit, you're going to get 113 here in Globe Life Park in Texas. Christopher Marie says he likes Cole in the spot. I love Texas, though. I really do. I think they can hit Ricky Nolasco all the way up. Next game we got is the Baltimore Orioles and the Minnesota Twins. How about Jose Berrios, man? Very disappointing, bro. Very disappointing. Pitchers usually have their very best games against the Orioles, man, but he just could not get that first pitch strike, and he could not close the deal. Once he had him on the ropes, the times where he was, in a 1-2 count, I mean, he just threw the worst piece of cheese over the plate, and they hit it every time. So we got Kevin Guzman at 7.3 and Felix Jorge at 4.7. Don't have a lot of information on Jorge here outside of the last game against Kansas City where he scored 8.45 points. I think that this is a spot because we are in Target Field, which does play pretty close to a neutral park in my belief. Yes, very neutral park here. I think that we can take a look at some of the Baltimore bats in this spot. I've got no issue there. I think that I can take a look at playing some Minnesota Twins against Kevin Guzman. He's not a guy that I love. Looking over his last couple of starts, 35 against Tampa Bay, 20 against Toronto, 19 against Cleveland. Pretty decent in his last 3 starts, actually. But just don't want to play him against Minnesota in Target Field. I like Minnesota as some one-offs. What's up, Brad? What's happening, big homie? Next game we got is going to be the New York Mets and the St. Louis Cardinals. We know that Busch Stadium, man, is one of the toughest places to hit jacks out of the yard, man. Right, it's right up there with Safeco and with of course AT&T Park. It's Busch Stadium, man. Is a pitcher's paradise. We got Jake DeGrom at 11.8, and we got Carlos Martinez at 10.7. 13-mile-per-hour winner going out toward right field. I think that either one of these cats can be in play in this spot. I really do, man. I'll be taking a look here, making sure we have it correct. Yeah, man. Jake DeGrom, Carmart, man. Both of these guys are going to be in play for me. They're both going to be in play. All right, we open it up. DeGrom in his last 4 starts, 39, 31, 31, 31. Now, I would say in this matchup, DeGrom is going to have probably the safest floor for me. The safest floor for me. Like I think we could pencil DeGrom in for an easy double on 11.8 that we spend for him. Like for him to go out and get 26, 27 points, I don't think that's an issue at all. If you want a quick 27 points, I think DeGrom can be your guy. Carmart, on the other hand, at 10.7, does have the ability to exceed that and go completely ham. And he doesn't have as high a floor, I would say, as DeGrom does, because in his last game, 0.65, 24.7, 12.7, 27.3. We saw against Philadelphia that 48-point game. So the floor is a little bit lower for Carlos Martinez, but I think in this particular matchup, the ceiling can be higher. So he's a guy that I'm going to give some consideration depending on how the New York Mets lineup look. I probably will not be stacking on either side of this. Yes, the Mets are actually better on the road, and the St. Louis Cardinals are worse at home. I won't be stacking bats from either side of this game. I can tell you that. I probably won't play anyone in terms of batters, but I do think that both of these guys should garner some consideration for us as we move into the line drive at 5. Next game we got is going to be Chicago White Sox and the Colorado Rockies. I love this, right? Because we've got German Marquez at 5.7 and Derek Holland at 4.9. And anytime you get Coarse on a slate, you get Scherzer on a slate. See, and that's what I'm saying. Chris Marie, see, Mark, he could get a complete game. He could pitch a complete game. Or he could score 17, 13 points, 15 points, 17 points. He could do that. You know what I'm saying? Well, I think DeGrom is pretty much a lock for 25 to 30 points. So we got the Colorado Rockies and the Chicago White Sox. This is perfect, man. Whenever we have like high dollar pitching, I love when Coarse is on the slate to really offset that, because you're not going to be able to do both. You ain't paying up for Scherzer and you ain't playing Coarse. You ain't. There's a few things they tell us to do that the industry know-it-alls tell us to do whenever Coarse is on the slate. Oh my God, you gotta get all the bats you can. Get all the bats you can in Coarse. Play all the bats. And they also say, oh my God, you can't play pitching in Coarse. There's no way. Don't play a pitcher if he's in Coarse, right? And we know both of those are not always true. And they also say, oh my God, Scherzer's on the slate. You gotta pay up for Scherzer. You gotta pay up. We know that's not true. We don't have to do that. It's slate. This stuff is slate specific, man. It's all slate specific. We got a 12.5 run total in Coarse Field, right? 0% chance of rain, 91 degrees here. I think a Rocky stack with German could be in order. It's coming from Christopher Maria, and I kind of agree with that. We know Derek Holland sucks. He's pitiful. He's bad. All right? 9, 19, -8, 19, -4, -13. Derek Holland sucks. So that means automatically that some of the Colorado Rockies bats are going to be in play for us. We know that automatically. And we also know they're going to be priced up. So I would turn my attention to some of the cheaper bats in Colorado. And I think I can play pitching here. I like German Marquez at 5.7 against the Chicago White Sox. 13.95, -3, 13, 13, 11, 11, 17, 20, 15. The dude, I think, is in a solid spot. We look at what has been going on with the White Sox recently, and they've moved up the ladder in K rate, man. At one point, they were middle of the pack. Now, 23.4% K rate, 169 ISO, 320 WOBA, and that also leads you to a hedge as well. Because I think when people think to play, Coarse, they automatically think to just play the Rockies. And if you don't like German Marquez, if you like the White Sox in the spot that they may be in, you look at the lineup that comes out, the 1 through 5, and you say, man, German Marquez is a young pitcher. These are some experienced White Sox bats. I'm gonna make a hedge stack. I'm stacking them for pretty much for the cheap in terms of Coarse prices. You could do that. Okay? You can definitely do that. Jay Gunn says he likes Melky in this spot. I mean, you got Melky, Hansen, you got Yomer Sanchez if he's in there, a guy that's probably gonna be fairly cheap, 3.8. Kevin Smith, 2.9. So there's a couple of different ways to go. I wouldn't game stack it, so to speak, but I think I could play on both sides of the fence here and get the job done. So next game we got is going to be the Cincinnati Reds. And this slate is chock full. Everything the industry teaches us, we're going to have to put to the test of this slate. Okay? Everything. Listen to everything that's happening. Listen to everything that's happening on this slate. You got the Bronx Bombers at home with the short porch, right? You've got Scherzer slate. You've got Coarse. You've got the Diamondbacks coming off of a really bad road swing going back home at full strength. They've got Peralta back. They've got the homie. He played tonight. They got Peralta back. They've got what's the dude name? You know what I'm talking about. They got all. Yeah. This slate is packed. You got Greinke on the slate. So this is going to be a really nice one. Okay, this is going to be a really nice one. You've also got Jake Lamb, who just hit 2 jacks last night. So there's a ton of stuff about this slate. We're going to be really tested with this one. This is going to be one where if you've been riding with us all year long, man, you're going to take a special shine to this slate. And I think we're going to do well. As a matter of fact, I know we're going to do well. You got Tim Adleman, 5.6. That dude is toast. You can most assuredly look at some of those lefty-righty matchups for the Arizona Diamondbacks here. Of course, we know what the park factor says about Chase Field. I'm just going to go to that just in case you don't know. Chase Field is one of the best hitting parks in the league, 10th ranked with a 108, a plus 108 park factor. They like to call it Coarse Light. For every 100 runs scored around the league, you get 109 here. For every 100 home runs hit around the league, you're going to get 106 here. So this is definitely an extreme hitter's park. And you got the Cincinnati Reds rolling into town. Zach Greinke is a guy. I think he pitches better. I think he pitches better on the road. At home, his last 2 starts, 29-19. Away, 17-16. Home, 20. Away, 30. His best start of the season was at home. Oh, yeah, his best 2 was at home, 40 and 42. Yeah, this is the one that does pitch well at home. This is the one, yeah. Because Ray was better on the road. Greinke is better at home. So I definitely think that he's a guy that's going to be in play. Is a very worthy pivot if you don't want to pay up for DeGrom or Scherzer. You want to stay out of the woods there. But you got to understand, man, you're going to be rocking with or against the Cincinnati Reds, a team that can definitely hit, man. Especially they mash righties when they can. So let's take a look at what they've been doing. I believe the Reds have been fairly disciplined in the plate. 25th in the league in K rate, 19.1%, 171 ISO, 321 WOBA. We've also got the Diamondbacks here, who have been striking out a little bit more than usual. They're up to 26.7% K rate, 167 ISO with a 305 WOBA. So nobody is really going to want to be all over those cats. Reds pretty low on Ks on the road last 2. Yes, they've been doing well the last couple of weeks on in terms of K rates on the road. So this is going to be a good one, man. This is going to be a good one. I think Zach Greinke does deserve consideration from us in this spot, though. I really do. Next game we got is going to be the Kansas City Royals and the Los Angeles Dodgers. What have I been saying to you about the Royals, people? What have I been saying? The Royals are for real. The Royals are the real deal. And I don't think you can just ignore these cats. Now, against Kenta Maeda, a guy who was a very formidable pitching prospect, he did have negative 5.75 last time against San Diego. But before that, we're talking 29, 20, 15, 2, 11, 25, 21, 28. He's been very solid. Now, this is not the ideal matchup for me for the Royals. I would love to catch them slipping against some left-handed pitching because that kind of gets Bonifacio and Lorenzo Cain and Whit Merrifield and those guys in there. But they've got lefty power that is nice. Guys like Eric Hosmer, Mike Moustakas. They've also got Alex Gordon at the bottom of the order, guys that you can use. So I'm going to have some interest in the Kansas City Royals, most certainly, or today. I really will. We got Dodger Stadium, which is a fairly neutral park, in my belief. Let's take a look to make sure. Here we are. Yes, it's a fairly neutral park here. 97 park factor. Don't have to worry about balls being mysteriously clanking off the wall. I like this. I like this. Then we got Jason Hamill, the righty, against the Dodgers here. You can play all the Dodgers you want. Interested in Maeda, but Moose could get another bomb here. It's coming from Christopher Maria. I can dig it. I think the Dodgers are another spot you can go to, and I want you to remember this, man. I want you to remember this because you're going to see very low ownership on these late games. Once we get to a certain point in the evening, I'd say the 9:40 game from Cincinnati, Arizona, all the way to Miami, San Francisco, bro, you're not going to see these teams get high ownership. And I'm not talking about individual ownership because individual ownership does not matter as much on a slate this large. At this point, we're talking about stack ownership. And once a tournament starts, let's say a tournament starts, right? And you've got Merrifield, Bonifacio, Cain, Hosmer, and Perez. You've got those guys stacked. And you look and you see, damn, Merrifield is 10% owned. Bonifacio is 3% owned. Cain is 7% owned. Hosmer is 8% owned. Perez 15% owned. Well, whoever's the least owned, whatever popular guy is least owned, the Bonifacio at 3% owned, That's probably the complete ownership of that specific stack. And I can tell you, once we get into these late games, from the Cincinnati, Arizona, all the way through, those stacks are going to be very, very low owned. I'm telling you they are. So I want you to pay attention to that and look at that as you go into your roster builds, because that can make all the difference for you, bro. Late night hammers are a thing in terms of our batter stacks in MLB. They really are. So give me the Dodgers in the spot. I do like some Royals. This could be a game stack for me. Kenta Maeda is interesting a little bit because I still have this little bone in me that wants to attack the Royals like I did in the beginning of the season, and it cost me money. Well, it made me money at first, and then it started to cost me money, so I stopped doing it. The Royals, very disciplined at the plate. 19.1% K rate. 214 ISO. This team is getting a ton of extra base hits. The 339 WOBA. Man, fuck that. I'm not playing no Maeda. Get out of here. I like the Royals, man. I like the Royals. Mark Davis is asking us to pour the Dodgers on him, baby. It's all good. I get it. I get it. Maeda bounced back, but Royals don't K much. Okay. Okay. And I like the Dodgers in the spot, too. I'm going to be going there. The next game we got is the Oakland Athletics and the Seattle Mariners. Safeco, really tough place to hit the ball, man. They are 29th ranked in the league. 85 is the park factor. That's very low. The only place that's worse than that is going to be AT&T Park, which is also on the slate too. And see, that's it. That's even more descriptive, like shit, narrative shit. We've got not only do we have Safeco, but we got AT&T on there. And you know how I feel about AT&T. If there's a cheap pitcher in AT&T, I'm going to play him, right? So we've got Sean Manaea 6.4, James Paxton 8.5. You know, both of these guys are going to be in play for me, but more so Paxton. It seemed like he's been kind of hurt lately during that stretch where he got the 0.4, the -3, and the 15. But over the last couple of games, he's been playing well. Now, granted, those were against Philadelphia and the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, but against the Oakland A's, a team that does strike out a ton. While we must respect them for their ability to hit extra bases with the 187 WOBA, we can't ignore that 28.6% K rate and the 318 WOBA here. The 187 ISO is something that we must look at, but we can't ignore that this team does strike out a lot. And for that reason, Paxton is going to be in play for me. On the other side, we got Sean Manaea at 6.4. Who's been very solid, 19, 13, 18, 11, 20.35. And this pitching in the spot is going to keep me from stacking on either side. But I do like a one-off, most specifically from the Seattle Mariners side, and by the name of Nelson Cruz, that I really think can take Sean Manaea over the fence. So, and I still think Sean Manaea can have a decent game at 6.4. Man, that's a very good price on that guy. Very good price, especially with how we've seen the Seattle Mariners hit as a team recently. Let's go ahead and check that out. Now, while they do not K a ton, they're 14th in the league, 22% K rate, 168 is the ISO with a 316 WOBA. We look on the other side of this game, of course, at the Oakland Athletics, man, and they just K'd with the best of them, 28.6% K rate. That's tough. That's tough. So I'm going to have some exposure to some of the guys on the Mariners side, maybe one or two that I really like, right-handed guys. Maybe Segura, Cano are going to be, Segura and Nelson Cruz will be guys that I'll be looking at. But, you know, Manaea is definitely a guy that can go out and play well. So, Paxton, I'm going to be interested in him. I'm going to just bet it all that we're going to see a ton of strikeouts from the Oakland A's side. So, I like Manaea more than Paxton in this game. It's coming from Christopher Marie. It's because you're like me. You're frugal. And you're trying to pay down for pitching and get the bats you want. I feel you. I feel you. I feel you. Last game on the slate is going to be the Miami Marlins and the San Francisco Giants. Give me all the Dan Straley that my lineups can handle. I love it. I love it. Yo, I love the fact that he is going to be in line for the win here because Matt Moore is shit. They're going to hit Matt Moore up. I actually like Miami bats in this spot. Dan Straley is one of my favorite pitching prospects on the slate. He is 8K. The dude can go out and pitch deep into games, give us 7, maybe 8 innings of really, really good pitching in a huge ballpark. I like that. I like that. This is the worst place for hitters, best place for pitchers. Dan Straley is a very solid prospect. 15, 11, 21, 31.85. Worst game of the season was against Pittsburgh on the road, .4. But well, actually, no, his first game against Washington was his worst at negative 7.3. I like Straley in the spot. I really do. I think Straley is a good pitching prospect here. And I don't like Moore at all. I don't like Moore at all because I think actually the Miami Marlins do hit lefties pretty well. And I'm not talking about just the right-handed guys. You know what I mean? And yeah, the Giants, they won like 6 of their last 7 games. Did they win yesterday? Didn't they lose yesterday? 'Cause I know heading into it, they had won like 6 of their last 7 games. Let's take a look at what they do. I see they don't strike out a lot. They don't strike out a lot, and that's been this way the whole season. 18.5% K rate, 141 ISO. I'm not scared of that. They're not hitting for extra bases. Also, the 314 WOBA is not something that I'm afraid of either. The Marlins do not K a lot. 20.5% K rate, 141 ISO, 306 WOBA in the spot. Moore is usually better at home, but he's been trashed lately, and I can definitely second that motion, bro. Yeah, he's been bad. He's been bad. But I like Straley here. Straley's a guy that I'm definitely gonna have in my initial pitcher pool. So we've gone over the pitching for today's slate. Talk a little bit about some banner stacks that we like. If you want to get more in depth with us, it's very simple, man. Go to the website www.dfssweatshop.com. Then I will allow you to come on into the Facebook group and you can chop it up with us daily. I do 2 live streams per day, and always in the group. We got shut up. Wait a minute. Shut up. Okay. Shout out to everybody in here that's participating at night. Shout out. Word. Much love and respect for y'all. Thank you, all of you. But we've got Lee the Napoli. Does the statistical stream of consciousness. He's always chopping it up. Samuel I Like to Drum is my homie. This dude starts the MLB thread every day. Okay? We've got constant feedback and chopping it up. Everybody is in here. It's just really dope. Okay? It is. We've got so much help coming around. So love the fact that we're in here, man. We can get it in. All right. So be on the lookout for the line drive at 5. Of course, it should be at 5 o'clock. I've got a busy day lined up at the barbershop. As you know, I'm a barber. I got to go open the shop in the morning. Hope you all had a good time with your CFL stuff, man. Sorry about that, Casey Matthews, man. I could not get back to you in time to get a video done for you. I'm sorry about that. But let's go out, man, and let's do the damn thing, man. If you're on DraftKings, keep it 200. If you're on FanDuel, keep it 250. But you're in here with me in the sweatshop, so I know what you do. You always keep it at 300. Peace.